on the form. If you are from Africa, Jamaica, and all that stuff, you had to. And I used to wonder, why? Is this for censor keeping, or is it for record keeping, or is it to be able to, segregate people or separate people or treat people differently?
It's all about humanity.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Breakage Barriers. If this is your first time here, my name is Blessing. You can call me Lady B or just call me Blessing. Black History Month. The month of October is a month that is set aside yearly to celebrate the contributions Africans have contributed in the society and in the world. The celebration of Black history originated from the US, America, which is initiated by African Americans. In fact, African Americans have done a huge sum of contribution to the African populace round the world, because they have gone through a whole lot in the US, from being kidnapped. Yes, I call it kidnap. From being kidnapped from their origin, which is Africa, and forcefully taken into ships, chained, and taken into the United States as slaves. So the African American populace is one that I deeply respect. Why? Because of their tenacity, because of the challenges, great challenges that they have faced as human beings in that part of the world called the USA. All the turbulent time and they've had in America has been of a particular race, that is dark-skinned people. That's the way I see us. We've got brown skin, but I don't know, for one reason or the other, over the years, throughout history, we've been called demeaning names like Negro, Black, to the extent that you have so-called names as Blacklist, Black Friday, which I personally find very demeaning. I'm a person of the African descent. I originally came from Africa, relocated to the United Kingdom. But while I was living in Africa, I knew and heard of people like Mandela, who had to fight for the liberation of his people from slavery, from being maltreated, from being killed unnecessarily for no reasons, and from being blacklisted. So I heard of all those stories, and of course I heard of stories of Nigeria as a nation, how we went through colonization and how the country attained independence. I heard of all that stories while I was in Africa. Of course, I actually didn't know that I'm black. I never knew that I'm black. While I was in Africa, I knew that I am of an African origin. That's all I knew. Until I relocated to the UK, then I started seeing instances of, oh, you're black. I started seeing difference in the treatment, and I started noticing, oh, we are different. That's when I started realizing the difference according to people of different origin and how people from different origins are treated differently. Of course, I also heard of the African American struggles. I heard of all that story, but I never understood how deep it was until, of course, I watched movies as well about human rights activists like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and so many of them. So, and I also watched a movie of Kunta Kinte. Yeah, I watched that in Nigeria. I watched Kunta Kinte, the story of Kunta Kinte, which was very heart-wrenching and at the same time heartwarming because of how it actually ended. He being able to find his roots. I think that's what the movie was called, Roots. So I watched all that, and I'd seen the stories of slavery, but my understanding was that was in the past. I didn't know there was another twist to the kind of treatment that was given to people who look like me. I didn't understand it that way until I relocated to the United Kingdom, and I started seeing so much difference. If you have to apply for something, you have to indicate on the form if you are from Africa, Jamaica, and all that stuff. You had to. And I used to wonder, why? Is this for censor keeping, or is it for record keeping, or is it to be able to, segregate people or separate people or treat people differently? I just wondered anyway. It was until I relocated, and I started understanding deeply how this actually affected people who look like me. So the Black History Month is celebrated in order to appreciate people who look like me, Africans, and as it's so called, Black. And sometimes we are also called colored people. And I find that very weird, like colored people. Anyways, this celebration originated from the African Americans, which I give kudos to, because they haven't just fought to liberate themselves, but they have representatively fought for everyone who happens to be an African, Black, or colored people round the globe. In the UK, we've also started celebrating and acknowledging the Black History Month. I think in America, it actually started in the 70s. In the UK, I think it's just a few years down the lane. So anyway, we celebrate it, and this month, October 31st, happens to be the Black History Month, the celebration of the Black history. I've not actually really celebrated it in public. When I say public, I mean like in a video like I'm doing right now, especially since I personally went through racism as well. That was shocking. But that actually didn't happen in London. That happened outside of London, and it was shocking because I didn't see it coming until it happened. Anyway, to go straight to the topic, personally as well, I do not believe there's any human being that is black, or any human being that is white. There's no black human being, neither is there white human being. None. Put a white paint next to what we today call white people, and they are nothing close to that color. Put a person of my complexion next to a black color, they are nothing close to that color. The darkest African person on earth is not black. The darkest African person is dark brown, depending on the shade. The darkest brown you can find, but nothing close to black. So I think it's quite belittling, that's my personal opinion, to, tag or call people who look like me as black. I personally don't believe we should be called by or named by our complexion, but by our origin. For example, I'm originally from Africa, you call me African. You see another dark-skinned person is originally from Jamaica, that part of the world, you call them Jamaican. Wherever, or from Asia, they were born or bred in Asia, you call them by their origin. But unfortunately, because of the stereotype attached to dark-skinned people, we are all put under one umbrella as our complexion. You know them, it's like you know them by their complexion. You refer to them by their complexion. You blacklist them by their complexion. So, which is awful, because our skin is what we carry everywhere. There's no hiding of your skin. And even those who are of light skin, I mean very much lighter than I am, are still called black. Those of mixed race who maybe one of the parents is African or black and the other is from another origin, lighter skin, those mixed race children or people are still referred to as black. So it's really mind-boggling. I think I'll keep this topic for another time, because it's sad. It's sad. That's the only way I can put it. That we have to stereotype ourselves as human in order to belittle, not for record purposes of being able to categorize in a good way or positive way, but to demean. And that is worrying. And it's part of what has caused a lot of division around the world, and it's still ongoing. Another thing that I've noticed is that most black achievers, most black influencers, most black contributors, and I'm not talking of just recently, I'm talking of centuries ago, black or African people who have contributed to society, black or African people who have contributed to the world by way of invention, by way of education, by way of innovation, have not at all been credited. Most of them, you can't find their names in textbooks. Most of them, you don't even hear of them at all. Some of them, their invention has been taken and rebranded and never referenced. So when you look at what is being taught at universities, secondary schools, you see that you can't find black or African inventors' name who have contributed highly. What you only find is the white, Caucasian or European inventors that you find, which has given a wrong impression that those who are black or Africans has not contributed anything to the world, or don't have anything to contribute to the society nor the world at large, which is a great lie. It's an absolute lie. I believe that the whole truth has not been given to the world, and where there's half truth given is the same thing as a lie. Humanity is being cheated of this information and knowledge because it deters growth, it deters the complete truth about history. People are shortchanged of history, the full story of history, because one sect of people want to take the glory They want to be the one to be seen as high. They want to be the ones to be seen as superior. They want to be the ones to be worshipped. They want to be the ones to be in leadership. They want to be the only ones to rule. And there are side effects to that, because if we allow just one part of the earth to flourish and grow, and the other part of the earth, or other people from other parts of the earth, are kept poor and impoverished, then you will see that there's an influx of people from that location to where there's a lot of growth and prosperity. Why? Because we are all humans. No one wants to stay in a place where there's no growth. No one wants to stay in a place where there's always war. No one wants to stay in a place where there's disruption. No one wants to stay in a place where they cannot feed themselves, where there's famine. There's always unsettling situations. People will want to move. They want to move because that's the human instinct. The human instinct is to fight back adverse situations, is to fight back adverse conditions. It's all embedded in all of us. And as humans, when we find ourselves in situations and positions that is not conducive, we want to fight it. We want to make it conducive. And when we hear, oh, I'm here, but if I happen to travel to ABC, then my condition or situation will improve. Then people will move. And humans have been moving for ages. There's no stopping it. There's no border that can stop humans from moving. There's no wall that can stop humans from moving. Wouldn't it be better to allow growth everywhere, be it in Africa or Asia, the Middle East, Europe? Everyone is growing. Will it not be better? It will be better to see everyone grow. And then innovation will increase, invention will increase, life will be much better. Maybe probably by now, technology would have advanced more than what we have today, probably. I'm one with the African Americans who have found this Black History Month. They are correct to have done that because they have as well seen that the Africans or Black or colored people are not being celebrated like their other counterparts. And mind you, colored people is not only used for Blacks or Africans. Colored people is also used for Blacks, Africans, Asians, Middle East people, anyone that is not European. Yeah, that's just the way it is. I also joined force with this Black History Month that is being acknowledged in the UK, thank God, by coming out to celebrate one of a kind. But the one I'm choosing is Augustine of Hippo. I've come to find that Augustine of Hippo was a great influential person. He was a great thinker. He was a great theologian. He contributed greatly to the process of theology in his era. But when you look at the textbook, this man was not given the credence that he well deserved. You can barely see him in most of the textbook. Not that his write-ups are not there. They are there, but they are not at the top. So he's not really being accorded his great contribution. If not for a man called Calvin. Calvin is a European theologian who also contributed to theology in the past. But Calvin's work is highly rated. Calvin's work is not just highly rated, is mostly accepted as correct, is mostly accepted as better, is mostly accepted as the standard. Augustine of Hippo actually influenced Calvin, and Augustine of Hippo has a lot of write-ups in a whole lot of topics that people were not discussing in his era, and came up with theories which influenced Calvin to be able to take his own stance. Fortunately, Calvin referenced Augustine of Hippo in his book. Had that not been the case, I don't think Augustine of Hippo would have been heard of. Since he referenced Augustine of Hippo, there was no way Augustine of Hippo's name could have been taken out entirely. So kudos to Calvin, who referenced his influencer, who referenced where he actually got his theories from. Kudos to him. So I'm joining forces with the Black History Month to give commendation to the works, aspirations, and theories of Augustine of Hippo, who greatly influenced most theologians of his days and, of course, the Christian community. So with this, I say thank you very much for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye. Bye.